Everybody mo friggin' back again. Did you get a haircut? Did you lose some weight? You're looking good out there. I got a really interesting video today about S30V steel and the band U2, so you're not going to want to miss it. Let's get the show on the road. Larin Thomas is coming out with the video shortly, if he hasn't already done so already, talking about some people think that steel doesn't really matter and that all steels are about the same. He has a long video about how that's not true, and I tend to agree with that. But he does make one point in it that he does say that if you have steels from a similar category, you might have a hard time telling them apart. And he brings up S30V. He says you're going to have a hard time telling it apart from M390 because they're so similar. I can put up their attributes here, talking about their toughness, edge retention, corrosion resistance. And you'll see that their edge retention and toughness is within half a point of each other. M390 has a little more edge retention, or S30V has a little more toughness, but also M390 is a lot more corrosion resistance at 9. But if you were using these knives side by side, you would have a very hard time telling them apart if they had the exact same edge geometry and sharpness. And then he says, where's all the S30V people at? Nobody's ever talking about how they really like S30V. I kind of see his point because I also am I like M390. And when I do my calculations of what everything I'm looking for, I prefer a little more edge retention over toughness. So I would prefer M390. But S30V is also amazing. And I have realized I have a lot of knives in S30V and I love those knives. I love them. Well, some of them I love them. S30V was actually developed in 2001 by Crucible Steel. They went to Chris Reeve from Chris Reeve knives, the Benza knives. You've heard of them. I know you have. Hey, as soon as he makes a blacked out one with a button, like a button frame lock, a button operated frame lock, I'm there. I'm first in line to buy that Sabenza. Well, he was using this. I can't even find any knives in this steel right now. BG42. Why are you using so much of this BG42? He said, well, hey, you make something better than BG42 and I'm in. So they got together with another metallurgist, Dick Barber at Crucible. They didn't just go to Chris Reeves, but they went to all the top knife makers and they said, what kind of stuff are you looking for in a knife? They came up with a number of attributes they're looking for and they came up with S30V. Looking at the numbers, how much different is it than M390? He's got a great point. It's a great steel. It's a great steel. And also, they had to have it so that it could heat treat in less than 2,000 degrees because a lot of furnaces at the time that a lot of knife makers were using, that was the maximum their furnace would go. Is 2,000 degrees. So trying to factor in, can they heat treat it properly? Can they grind it? How can we get more edge retention? They came up with S30V. Not only is S30V a great steel, it was kind of the precursor to S45VN and S35VN. You get more toughness and more corrosion resistance than S30V, but you sacrifice some edge retention. So back to his point about S30V. Nobody likes S30V. Back in the day, in 2000, everybody loved S30V. Now everybody hates it. It's a lot like the band U2. Who likes U2 right now? He says they have millions of subscribers, but I have never met somebody who likes U2. And I see what he's saying in that. I don't walk around saying I'm a U2 fan, but I do like U2. It doesn't come up in conversation necessarily, but U2 does have the hits, Larin. And they were the highest grossing touring band from 1980 to 2022. There's a lot of people who paid a lot of money to see U2 in concert, and I'm sure it's a great show. U2 actually started in the 70s. They met at their school. So Bono, The Edge, who plays guitar and keyboards, Bono's the lead singer, I'm assuming lyric writer mostly, and then Adam Clayton on bass guitar, and Larry Mullen Jr. on drums. What year did I say they started? 1976 in Dublin. So they're an Irish band. They were a touring band from the get-go. U2 has the hits. They have 22 Grammys, a number of number one hits in the US, UK, all over the world. There was a comment under the video that he posted about this where they said, you listen to U2 and it took me back to junior high school. All those memories came flooding back, what you were doing when you're listening to those songs. Is it like the Beatles, where I think about the Beatles all the time? No, but also the Beatles were the Beatles. Then he says something I think is hilarious where he says U2 is a good steel name. I hear something and I go, oh, that'd be a cool band name. He thinks of something and says that'd be a cool steel name. And he's like, oh, in my book, I talk about uranium and steels and it could be U2. So I guess I got to pick up his history of knife book and I'm sure he'll come out with the second edition as soon as I buy it, just like he did with his knife steel engineering book. But that's fine. That's fine, Larin. That's fine. All right. So what knives do I have in S30V? First up, I have the Smock. Of course, I don't have the Smock and S30V because that one's taken apart for another video, but I do have 3 versions of the Smock. The typical one comes in S30V, and it's I've always been happy with S30V. This one's Rex 45. I think I have another one that's crew wear. I dyed these handles black. I have a video down below. I think it turned out pretty great, and I love the Smock. The Smock was designed by Mr. Smock, of course, Kevin Smock, in 2019. He has a custom version of this. He had licensed the compression lock so that he could put a button on it. So he had some custom ones licensed from Spyderco. But then Spyderco was like, these are awesome. Why don't we make some production version of these? And so then now this is a very popular knife for it being a button actuated compression lock. The patent's gone on these now. And so now you're seeing all these button actuated compression locks or top liner locks that you're seeing are all maybe not exactly the same, but quite similar. They have a really good lockup, and you get the fidgety fun of having it have a detent and having it have a button lock on the side. These are hollow ground. These are slicing machines. If you're like a black button lock guy like me and you haven't picked up a Smock, this is a really great one. And if there was a U2 song that represented the Smock to me, it would be New Year's Day. Came out in the album from 1981, War. It's about that even after New Year's Day, nothing changes. Like you think like, oh, it's a New Year's Day, we're gonna start over and do something. But my love for this knife will not change ever. I love the Smock. Iconic intro. Listen to that piano. You're gonna need hook after hook to get a hit. Listen to this. This isn't even their biggest hit, by far. You listen to that piano, there's no way you're not gonna know that this is U2 New Year's Day. Nothing changes New Year's Day. I think I'm starting with my favorite U2 song right there. Sing it, Bono. I will be with you again. And maybe me thinking about my Smock that I have taken apart. I'll be with that Smock again. I'm hopeful. It's a very hopeful New Year's Day song. Do you guys play that song on New Year's ever? I never do. Next up, in S30V, I have the Spyderco Yojimbo. This is a crazy knife. If you haven't seen a Yojimbo, check this bad boy out. Huge Wharncliffe blade, hollow ground, just a really unique style and handle and shape. I think it fits Spyderco well. They really like these dead bird kind of looks. This is actually based on a knife called the Yojimbo by Michael Janisch. Yojimbo actually means bodyguard. And I will always love you. Come on. I'll show some pictures of the original 2005 Yojimbo. This is actually the Yojimbo 2, the one you can get now from Spyderco. They actually made the blade longer. It's not such a triangle. The handle's actually shorter than it was, but it kind of keeps that same DNA, and it was made as a tactical knife. But you'll see, I think I've talked about this before in a video, but you make a knife that's a Wharncliffe shape. It does have a little bit pokier tip than you really need for utility, but these end up being quite utilitarian, be able to break down boxes and open packages and things like that. I don't think I would ever use it for tactical reasons, but I guess I could if I had to. Made in the USA, Golden, Colorado. Same as the Smock is not. It's made in Taiwan. But again, S30V. So the song I picked for this one, also from their War album from 1981, Sunday Bloody Sunday. Written by Bono about the Bloody Sunday in Northern Ireland, where 14 innocent protesters were killed by the British. And this was back in 1972 in Derry, Northern Ireland. And some people say this is like a protest song and has been used by people saying, oh, this is a protest song. And, he obviously sided with the Irish. But it's more of a song about just the futility of war and the pointlessness of it. And that's kind of how I feel about the Yojimbo, meaning that I'm not going to use it for tactical reasons. I'm just going to use it just as a utility knife. You cannot miss this opening drum beat. This is one of those beats you can Google on YouTube and 20 people will teach you how to play this drum beat. Hook, the guitar hook. Oh my gosh, classic. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. This is a great song. Those two, I feel like you can run to them. They're enough of rocker songs you can get a good workout. All right, our next knife in S30V. I have a knife not from Spyderco, but still in S30V. but also a company that you would kind of put up there with Spyderco as like a American-made company producing somewhat combat-related knives at times, and that's Hogue. Hogue. We have the Hogue Sig Saur automatic. This is the K32A. Sig Saur because Hogue has had a long relationship with Sig Firearms to make their G10 grips. Eventually came into an agreement where they're going to make their automatic knives and other knives, and so that's why we have these Sig Saur knives. Founder of Hogue was named Hogue. His name was Guy. How can you forget that? Guy Hogue, still run by the family. They moved out of California because of knife laws, and now they're running out of Henderson, Nevada. And of course, I'm from Vegas, and so I always want to support local people from where I'm from. And I actually worked in Henderson. That's where I was a civil engineer. But they just don't make a lot of black button locks. I don't know. Maybe there's possibly, and it really jumps out. It comes tip down right-handed, but actually you can do tip up, tip down, left or right. And this automatic knife has really got a lot going for it, and it's really a reasonably priced item, a lot like a lot of Hogue. Compared to Benchmade and Spyderco, you get a little more value. I am looking at a Hogue OTF. I didn't realize I liked OTF so much when I started collecting knives, so I probably would have got a Hogue OTF instead of this out the side. I really want a knife from Hogue. I just haven't found the exact right one to go for. I picked the U2 song. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. From their next album was huge for me, Joshua Tree, and I always thought it was strange that this British band is naming their album Joshua Tree. I remember driving to Utah growing up, and just seeing Joshua trees everywhere, and I was like, this is like a Western United States thing to see Joshua Tree everywhere, and they named their album that, and they named it after that tree because they were, touring, and they see the western part of the United States, and they're like, this place is so desolate and harsh, isolated, and they were feeling that way, and so they wanted to name this album that. The actual Joshua Tree was named by the Mormons.
Yes, the Mormons were the correct answer.
When they came to Utah, because to them it seemed like Joshua from the Old Testament raising his arms in the air, because the Joshua Tree has, looks like arms reaching up. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Next up, an S30V. Who's left? Benchmade. Let's pull out Benchmade. Has a knife in S30V. But still in there. Benchmade sack. I must prize this one. This one actually came out in another video. This is the Shootout. This is a new knife. This one came out in 2022. It's got that grivery handle like all the bug outs do that kind of makes it feel a little cheap and lightweight. This one was failing on me quite a bit, if you remember from my first video. And I got some Rem oil and I'm getting ready to oil it up. Looks like it's working now, but I got a deal on this one, so I picked it up. They don't make a complete blacked out one, so I probably just should have waited. It was a good deal, so I got it. It does leave something to be desired, and I think Benchmade in general kind of has that reputation of, charging a little bit more for the value, but they get it. Make that money, right? But I'm not super interested in their stuff necessarily for the price. My song for them is Desire from the Rattle and Hum album. This one came out, it was kind of a documentary tour type album. The hit off of it, the single Desire. Song about greed and the love of money. I hate to say that to Benchmade. They're just a business. They're just trying to make money. You can see what I'm saying. They kind of have that reputation. This song rocks. You can definitely run to it. Definitely got a beat. Yeah. Desire. For our grand finale, our fifth knife in S90V. I actually have it in my pocket today. I've been carrying it around the last few days when I started researching this video because I love it so much. And I know I'm not the only one. Like, if I hold it right here, you kind of have a white background right next to the Coke sign. Spyderco Shaman. And I've featured this knife already in my Dr. Knife video. I'll link that one down below. A well-loved knife by me and by tons in the knife community for its utility, for its quality, for its uniqueness. They have a Salt series in Magna Cut. They have a cheaper version now that they've put out, but I would just go for the S30V one, man. This is fantastic. This was designed by Sal Glesser, the owner of Spyderco. This one came out in 2017. Part of the Native series with this humpback there, and it's just a big old Native 5, but it does have a compression lock. I still do have to flick it open, but it's breaking in every time I handle it. It's got contoured G10, made in the USA. So what is the song I picked for the Shaman from U2? Guys, U2 has all the hits. There's more than 5 U2 hits that I would know every word to. Let me tell you another secret about U2. I get these songs out to play for my kids because I'm researching this video, of course. They knew some of the songs because they're in Sing 2, that little cartoony cartoon tune. Larin Thomas Thomas, my kids are U2 fans. The Shaman. What song did I pick for the Shaman? I picked one from the Octoon Baby album, the one that I made out to. I'm pretty certain of it. The one is a song. The band is, they're trying to figure out what direction their band's going to be going in, songs they're going to write, and they're thinking they're almost going to break up. And the Edge just started playing some guitar chords. Bono just started singing over the top of them. It became a big hit that they play all the time. One. And the song is about them being different people, but they still have to come together. Leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it. That's it right there, you guys. This is one life. We got to get along out there. It's a privilege. It's one to have this life. We get to share it. We get to share it. It's a privilege. So get out there, be kind to each other, be cool, get some S30V, listen to some U2. If you like this sort of stuff, like, subscribe. There's more coming. We'll see you on the next one. Farewell.
That is so weird.
That was Metal Complex saying something about my video, I think, actually.